Okay, so this is our third video on finding tangent, and this time it says evaluate tangent of pi over 4 and the tangent of 3 pi over 4. So, of course, we're going to go to our trusty unit circle, and pi over 4 is the same as 45 degrees. So this is the tangent of 45 degrees. We know that to find tangent, it's sine over cosine. The coordinates at 45 degrees are radical 2 over 2, comma, radical 2 over 2. Now remember, for 45 degrees, the cosine and the sine are the same. Now, if you have one of these angles that end in 5, there's something that's always going to happen, and we'll see if we can determine what that is. So let's go ahead and plug in. For sine, I'm going to write radical 2 over 2 divided by cosine radical 2 over 2. Now, I don't have to worry about any rationalizing or multiplying by the reciprocal because the top is exactly the same as the bottom. If that's the case, the answer is 1. And that's it. All right, let's look at the tangent of 3 pi over 4. And I'll trust the unit circle. So 3 pi over 4 is 135 degrees, and we can see the coordinates are negative radical 2 over 2, positive radical 2 over 2. So negative radical 2 over 2, positive radical 2 over 2. And we can write this out. This is the same as the tangent of 135 degrees, and I know that this is the sine of 135 over the cosine of 135. We know that the first coordinate, the x-coordinate, is cosine. The second coordinate is sine. So let's go ahead and plug in. For sine, positive radical 2 over 2. For cosine, negative radical 2 over 2. The only difference between this problem and the last problem is that we have this negative sign. The top is still pretty much the same as the bottom except for the sign. So we know if we divide something by itself, we get 1. The top is positive, the bottom is negative, so my answer is negative 1. Now, let's look at the next two. The next two, we have the tangent of 5 pi over 4 as well as the tangent of 7 pi over 4. So you should begin to see a pattern also with these 4s. So let's see. Tangent of 5 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 225 degrees. And what do we see? Negative radical 2 over 2, comma, negative radical 2 over 2. So negative radical 2 over 2, negative radical 2 over 2. Now, if you've picked up on what we've said, you know that we're going to get a 1 when we divide. If you divide something by itself, you have to get a 1. And we're dividing a negative by a negative, so positive 1. I don't have to do any work at all. Let's take a look at the tangent of 7 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4 is 315 degrees, and the coordinates there, positive radical 2 over 2, comma, negative radical 2 over 2. So let's write that down. Positive radical 2 over 2, comma, negative radical 2 over 2. Same thing, if I divide something by itself, I have to get a 1. But this time I'm dividing a negative by a positive, so my answer is negative 1. So whenever you see over 4 in radian mode, or if you see a degree ending in 5, like 45, 135, 225, you know that the cosine and the sine are going to be the same number. The only thing that may change is a negative sign. So your answer is either going to be positive 1 or negative 1. All right, and there's 2 more problems that we'll do. The tangent of 2 pi Once again, we'll go to our unit circle. 2 pi is the same as 0 degrees. So actually, I should say that 2 pi is 360, but we know that 360 is the same as 0. So this is the same as the tangent of 360 degrees. The tangent of 360 degrees is going to be equal to the sine of 360 over the cosine of 360. Now the coordinates at 2 pi or 360, 1, comma 0. 1 represents my cosine, 0 represents my sine. So on top, I'm going to put 0. On the bottom, I'm going to put 1. If you take 0 and divide it by 1, you will get 0. Next up, the tangent of 0 pi. Now we just went through that whole spiel that 0 pi or 0, if I have 0 pi, that's the same as 0. So I'm going to have the same exact coordinates. That's going to be 1, comma 0. So the tangent of 0 pi is going to be the same as the tangent of 2 pi. I don't have to do any work there. It has to be equal to 0. All right, and this is the conclusion of finding tangent. I hope these videos were helpful to you and you can use these videos to do your assignment. Thank you.